Good morning, good morning.
Grand Rising.
Yeah. Today is another special episode. This is where we do an overview of the whole season 2, and just wrapping it up. Our thoughts, our comments, our self-critiques, right? Looking at the comments section that's been more robust than season 1, and feedback on that. And so we're just gonna jump in for our season wrap-up for season 2.
I'm Mahagony.
I'm Ish.
And this is Culture Currency.
What culture
is the value.
Yes.
I started it off with the intimate relationship episode.
Mm-hmm.
It showed me how much I've grown as a person and in relationships.
Yes.
I hope it helps others to reflect on the parts they play in their relationship.
Yeah.
And makes them show up healthier.
Right.
Them ups and downs be wild when you're in that toxic state.
Right. Isn't it so funny that you could really be in something and then it becomes a whole daze?
It's wild.
It's wild. And I think that's why building habits are so important. It's about who you want to be and being intentional about that and then building up that person. And I put here that it was the shame episode, but I don't think it was. I think it was the intimate relationships. And I was thinking about realizing the connection between my commitment to conflict resolution, and the arts and what it's done for me. And I think that's part of what I do professionally really helped me grow up. That intimate relationship episode really made me further reflect on that. One thing you said, you could do the work, but not necessarily that your partner's there doing the work. And it's the same thing with dealing with your everyday people. So even though we know how to communicate effectively with people, we're not trying to get into drama. It's really important to have conflict resolution skills, but you're a martial artist, you're a master. I'm also a martial artist. If talking it out is not gonna work and I have to defend myself in this situation, I know how to do it. So it's not about being the tough guy, but it's about using discernment and knowing when and where and how.
Discernment,
you know what I mean?
Is the important word. Discernment is something that I think is a lacking art right now. It's like, do you really read a room? Do you really read a situation?
Right.
Do you show up as that room is telling you you need to show up?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's very important, especially bringing it back to intimate relationships. Everyone has become so self-centered that they're not paying attention to how they're affecting others.
Exactly.
And there's no way for it to be a healthy interaction without that.
Even a relationship with yourself.
I was about to go there.
Right, because a lot of times our responses to other people is how we feel about ourselves. VHS Greg said, relationships are relationships regardless of what kind they are, being mindful, intentional, and consistent, how we show up and owning when we don't, to identify and adjust, not just solo, but in community, our missteps, right? So it's important that we intentional and mindful how we do these things, but we need all of these skills.
Yeah, the thing is wanting the skills.
Right.
The mindset around healthy habits is just not really the greatest when it comes to our community. It's like, oh my God, y'all trying to teach us?
Yeah.
Oh my, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's always funny to me to watch how people respond to things that make them uncomfortable. Right. All you're doing is telling on yourself.
Right.
You know there's nothing wrong with what we're telling you, but you don't want to do
You're not ready yet.
And so now you want to downplay what we're doing,
right?
So that you
feel more
comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's I want us to get past that.
Yeah, because change is uncomfortable.
Growth.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, man. It's not the fun part. The fun part is after.
The fun part comes from
it. It's called turbulence before the breakthrough.
Yep. I always tell people I walk through hell to get to heaven.
Yeah.
Right. I live a very, very happy existence.
Yep.
That didn't come by way of anything but me having to walk through the ugly stuff to get to the pretty side.
Well, speaking of that, I just want to say this season, just give it up to you for being so vulnerable, man. I was watching everything.
I appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? You was really dropping it and really sharing a lot.
I know. When I watched the joints, I was like, dang, you was really allowing people in.
Allowing people in. I said, that's super dope. And I appreciate that. Yeah. It was a time when you didn't let people in and you saw that the impact it had on somebody very dear to you. And it's like, I'm not doing that again. If I have a story to share that can help other people, I'm doing it. And the fact that you did it so publicly is dope.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm just trying to, I'm not trying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being what I'm telling other people to be, right? I can't be out here saying, we need to do, we need to
Right.
do, we need to do.
Right, and you're not
And
doing
I'm
it.
not doing it.
Right.
You know?
And are you saying anything about shame episode?
I think mine was very simple. I said heavy but necessary.
Very good. Whoa.
I figured I would
Yeah.
bounce off of whatever you saying because
Right.
I was so in it.
Yeah. Well, I was
take
so in
place.
it watching it that it was no room for me to, I didn't have notes. I was just like, I remember I kept texting you like, oh my God, I keep forgetting. I have an assignment here. And I couldn't stick to the assignment because I was so in it.
What about that episode made it that intriguing?
It really captivated me and brought me in. So not only could I relate to it, I really admire your bravery there.
Appreciate you.
And how introspective you were. Because introspection is so important to me. You know, we really talk about going in first. You know what I mean? When you have a situation with someone, it's very important to be introspective, figure out your part in it. But this here, it wasn't just figuring out your part. You were really just thinking about the impact that all of this has had on you. You know, and the different thing and the different layers that you had to uncover to get to the core of Mahogony. Because you had so many things through the years. If you watch the different episodes, you really see her whole story, right? That a lot of us can really relate to. And it's different things were on top of this little girl, you know what I'm saying? So you have to come out of that. I'm thinking like swimming up from the bottom of the pool to become, I mean, you've always been a beautiful person, but you're very different than who you were.
Tell
you know
me
what I'm
about
saying?
that. I really,
Right.
I'm interested in knowing
Yeah.
how you see the difference from who I was to who I am now.
Your energy is lighter. So what I mean by that is you had the energy of like unapproachable.
I've heard
But
that.
we were friends, so I didn't feel that way. But throughout the years, I've had people talk to me about feeling like they couldn't really communicate with you. You know what I mean? But I think, but now you're much more open and understanding and different stuff. And that brings me to, I was not afraid of Mahogany, y'all. All right? So what happened was, but I thought about it and I said, why would I say that? And I'm like, oh, that gotta be me sharing what I've heard. Now, you know, you can be intimidating to talk to because I never felt that way.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? But other people have. But we got a certain type of closeness. So that's like a lot of people, you can't really, you know, you one way with people, but you one way with your peoples. You know what I mean? So
I never felt like I was different with anybody.
let me tell you your energy right now. Like you say, like you never feel like I'm different with anybody. Right? You see you smiling with me, somebody else, you'll be like, all right, that's fine. And it's like, you can't get through me. This is my opinion. This is what I'm saying. Me and you, we could talk like, all right, well, maybe we talk. You're not doing that with everybody. You could be very cut off.
You know what? You're right. You're right. If what you're trying to tell me doesn't make sense and what I know makes all the sense in the world, why would I change what I'm doing? Often when I'm interacting with people, you have people who have a very victim mindset. I don't relate to that. So if you're trying to get me to tone down who I am to make you comfortable, that's never going to happen.
But everybody has two different perspectives, right? So you just said, basically, it doesn't make sense to me. And what I know is this is to be true. And you will be on that. But what about warming up to two perspectives? Like, I hear you, but no.
No, I hear you. Doesn't mean I'm going to change my mind.
No, I agree with that.
So that's the point. So perspective is perspective. It goes back to our feelings versus facts conversation, right? Both of us feel something, but now we got to deal with the facts of things.
You know what
this
I gotta
don't
say,
make sense
something?
and that do.
Honestly, you know what it is. And I think the reason why we've been not able to be friends, but also able to do business, is because, for one, we're not afraid of the hard conversations. We're not afraid of a little battle. And I think people just get like, oh, like, they feel the strength and then they back down. And I can't really, maybe that's the reason why I never came to you with it. It's because it's like, y'all got to kind of know how to talk to different people and personalities.
But that'd be my thing. I have a huge problem with weakness trying to overpower strengths. Me stating the truth doesn't give you the right to bully me out of the truth.
All right, can I say something about
Go
that?
ahead.
All right, but when given the truth, right, and knowing the emotional state of a lot of people, and you're not going to agree with me with this, I already know.
I know too.
Yeah. Like, I'm not doing it, Ish. But in stating the truth, what about putting some warmth on it? The truth.
I think I'm very warm, but when the truth is the truth, that's hard to swallow. It sounds harsh, period. I told the young lady that she wasn't my type. because of her mindset around what type means, she thought I called her ugly.
Got it.
You understand what I mean?
You know my type.
It's so many areas that type falls under. Your personality could be the issue.
Yeah.
The fact that we have different principles
Your sense
and
of
mindsets.
humor, that's personality. Yeah,
all of
yeah,
those
all
things,
those things.
right?
But you do for a living.
But you filter through your mindset. So if I go around trying to filter who I am through the insecurities of others, what does that do to me? And what does that do for them? This helps us both. This doesn't just help me. And I am me at all times. So now you are getting an understanding of who you're dealing with. Do I want to deal with that? I believe in choice.
I mean, you know what? And at the same time, there's nothing that could be said about that. I mean, it's different personalities, and certain people get along and can, and some people can't, and that's it. And then and anything like I have to be there.
Because I'm super warm. I don't know people that I'm not warm to. Because I don't deal with people that I don't respect.
Okay. I'm not gonna say you're not warm because I can't say that because we mad warm with each other, right? I guess,
I'm warm
right?
with people.
We warm, right? You say you warm with people, but people that you fuck with.
Give me an example of me not being warm.
All right, so something happened. I wasn't there. This has got to be 2 years ago. I got a call. The budget needed to be more in order for them to get your services, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you was like, I'm sorry, I don't do that for this. Like, that's not what I do. I'm not doing that for this.
I'm sure that's not my language.
Okay, got it. So then that's
I'm pretty sure that's not my language.
Okay, so then that's that
But I
thing.
will absolutely stand firm in
but you should.
with my
okay.
Yeah.
So all I can say is I'm not there,
like, people,
so I can't.
People filter through. That's how they felt I was talking.
Right.
That
okay.
ain't how I was talking. Because I don't talk like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's not what.
Got
I
it.
do. But.
And actually, you know what? Just now, what you just did, like, nah, no, I'm not gonna do it. I gotta go back and say, nah, you do. You straight to the point, but you're not rude.
That's what I'm saying. I'm very respectful.
Yeah.
So when the other conversation comes up, I know that they're filtering me through something else. Because I'm super intentional when I deal with people. Where we was at?
Okay. You were talking about shame.
Yeah, you were saying that all of this, you got a chance to understand me differently from a standpoint of like things like piling on and me overcoming that.
Right.
And I'm bringing it back to this conversation. Those things help me to stand firm in who I am. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's all of those things while I was young that made me push who I am in to give others comfort.
Right.
It's like, who do you become when you are just trying to make everyone else comfortable?
Right.
At what point are you living your truest self?
Right.
And at what point are you being your most powerful self?
Exactly.
You can't.
Exactly.
So I'm mindful of the respect factor. I'm mindful of my intention and how I operate, but I am very firm in my stances.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone should be.
Right. The process that you had of digging through and all of that kind of stuff, that's exactly what Dream taught me. Dream is my organization, by the way, because it gave me the skills, it gave me the tools, it gave me a toolbox of things to be, to have respect for myself, to have respect for other people, and to handle just whatever comes my way in proper manners.
As long as we're getting the information and doing the work, we all end up in the same space.
Yeah.
When you start looking for ways to kind of cut corners or
Right.
shield yourself from the hard parts,
Right.
that's where the issue comes in. I've never met a person who was self-actualized that took offense to who I am.
Right.
I've never met that.
Right.
So that confirmed that I was just around the wrong people.
Yeah. Yep.
That don't mean I'm changing me. That means I'm changing who I'm around.
Oh, you're not ready to deal with me yet.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a way that I wanted to express something that I didn't. I said one key thing that conflict resolution teaches you is that every conflict is not a fight. And I think
good. That's
right.
That's a very good statement.
Yeah. Every conflict is not a fight. You know, but if you don't have the skills other than fighting, then you don't know what else to do. And it feels like every conflict is a fight. You know,
every disagreement is not a fight.
Right.
Like, I know so many people who think having a disagreement means that we having a falling out.
Yes.
And I'm like, do y'all have relationships?
Yeah.
That's a part of it.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Bringing two people together
Yes.
with different minds, different, I said that in one of the episodes. Like, that's a part of it.
Exactly. But everybody sees conflict differently, right? And I know in one of our workshops, we have this sheet to see how does everybody see conflict. Some people see conflict as a fight. Some people see it as a dance where two people got to get on the same page. People see it so many different ways that's why it's important to talk, because when I'm talking to you, right? You're talking to me, like you said, we're hearing it to so many different filters, you know what I mean? That is important to be able to calm down and have enough love and care for each other to try to work through that.
That's why the perspective thing has the same home as feelings for me. Because there's your perspective, my perspective, then there are the facts. So,
But sometimes perspective can also be bringing the facts to the table about something.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It could be bringing something I don't see.
Right.
That's why it has value. When you start saying your perspective is what it is, but you over there seeing something that's here, and I'm over here seeing something that's here.
Where's the facts
And I'm
here?
like,
Where are
yo,
the facts?
we still got to go through that.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that be my thing. I go straight to the, all right, let's get right here. Because that's mess.
Yeah. My life episode, when I was telling my story.
I enjoyed your episode,
thank you.
man. I
Thank
really
you.
did. Really getting to know you as a kid was mad cute. Also, because it was like a certain admiration that came from seeing the relationship between you and Elle, and how, because I know y'all in real life.
Yeah, right.
And then I'm hearing the stories of
Yeah.
y'all in the house, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's so
Yeah,
dope.
yeah.
Because I always wanted a sibling that was close in age.
Right.
Because that would have been my road dog. Like,
Right.
we could do these things.
Right.
I didn't have that. All of my siblings are way older
Right.
than me, or I'm way older than my little
Right,
sister.
that's right.
So it was like, all right,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
different. So hearing your story was super cool.
That's true, because the other ones are younger or older. Yeah, that's true, right. One thing I didn't mention was that, you know how, we was playing Cops and Robbers? After we was behind Yankee Stadium seeing the hookers and stuff, we used to play Cops and Hookers.
Nah.
Yeah, we ain't play Cops and Robbers no more. And I'll never forget, one of my friends, Nene, you remember this?
Something wrong with you.
It's not just me, it was all of us. We was playing Cops and Hookers.
Cops and hookers. You changed the whole
Changed
game.
the whole joint. I remember Nene was like, hey, you want something me? $2. It's so crazy the things that stick with you. I
That's a
remember
fact. That's
when
a fact.
Nene said, you want something me? $2. Yeah, so we was outside playing Cops and Hookers, man.
Yo, that is mad funny.
Yeah, mad funny. Yeah, and one thing I didn't mention, I want to give my mom's props too, is that my mother was an entrepreneur, because my father, when I think about the community work, my grandparents on my paternal side, boom. But my mother, she had her own catering business. Nice. And we used to do the deliveries for her when she sold dinners on the block and all of that kind of stuff. And I never knew how to cook, so I would wash the dishes, after, and be her taste tester and stuff like that. But definitely want to give a shout out to my mom for just encouraging that entrepreneur spirit in me. But like I said, I wish she had more time to push me to keep going at a young age. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yo, that's one thing I've always given my mother props about. A conversation we had when I was really young with her telling me, like, with all of the gifts that you have, you should always be okay. I carried that throughout my entire
Like, I'm doing this.
life.
I'm doing everything.
She gave me wings.
Yes.
When you think about the people, like, I didn't know how prevalent that actually was until you start engaging with other people and
Yes.
seeing how they feel like they can't just go out
Oh my
and do
goodness, yes. Thanks for, oh yes.
you know what I mean?
Yes,
you
yes.
can't just go out and do it. I'm looking like, I don't understand that understanding, because I always just, I always did
But you
that.
got it from something and
Yeah,
somebody.
my mother
yeah,
put
that
that in
battery
me.
was in there. We have to put the batteries in our kids' backs,
Have
man.
to.
Because one thing my mother did, you just made me remember it. She used to sit there and tell me, listen, whatever you do in life, be the best at it. I don't care if you sell number 2 pencils. You better have the sharpest number 2 pencils on the block. So what I loved about that is it wasn't about, you got to do this big stuff and you got to do all of this. Do whatever you want to do and be the best. And that just did something to me. I didn't realize what it did until around friends and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, they're not getting that same message. They don't believe in themselves in the
At
same way.
all.
In the same way. So that's why I'm like, oh no, this is important.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
that struck a chord for me
Yeah.
early. It gave me permission to explore all of my creativity.
You're right.
When I tied that together, she didn't know this, but it also was what gave me my therapy, right? Because as we said in my interview, that I had a therapist, but I didn't believe in therapy.
Back then, oh please, you bugged out.
Heavily frowned upon. My creativity became that for me. So whereas people were like, yo, you so strong to have survived these things. If I didn't have that
Art did
creative
it.
space,
That's right.
it was over.
Right.
It was over.
Right. But your story is what will make your school, Oliver Legacy, to be so successful, because you lived through, or like, for example, how you said that my life, because that's a comment that you made, that my life gave me the blueprint for dream. Through your episode, I really saw the season period, how your life gave you the blueprint for Oliver Legacy, because you see the importance of art. It's brought you out of dark times. It's kept you above water. It gave you a voice to be able to express yourself creatively and just get all of these things out that was being held in. You had martial arts. You know the importance of that discipline, of that family, and then also those physical abilities to be able to protect yourself if needed.
Yeah, because
You know what I mean?
once you have a voice, people are very upset that you have a voice.
Yeah.
There are going to be times where
Right.
the physicality is going to need to be in
Right.
place.
Yep, absolutely.
It really is.
Right.
And so when building the Oliver Legacy Academy, I thought about all of that. If I'm saying I want to empower these young people with advocacy, the ability to articulate and speak for themselves and stand firm in their understandings, I already know what they up against.
Right.
I've been there, done that.
Right.
I'm still there.
Right.
People are still going to paint me the aggressive person because I don't want to bend when they
To certain things,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I know what they need to be okay in that dynamic.
Right.
And so I decided like all of these tools need to be there in
Yes.
order for that to be
Yeah,
a thing.
and I'm full support of that. I'm looking forward to seeing that materialize. It's something,
Yeah.
a great thing.
Appreciate it.
I wanted to say something publicly, something that stuck with me growing up. I think my big brother killed my turtle. His name was Doogie Howser MT for Medical Turtle, if y'all remember Doogie Howser. And I went to my grandmother's house one weekend.
Which brother?
Amy, my oldest brother, or L, because they were together. I came back home, and Doogie wasn't there. And Amy said, he died, we buried him. I'm like, what? I said, well, I want to go to where he's buried. I had to be like 10. 33 years later, I still have not seen the area. What happened to Doogie, y'all?
What happened to Doogie?
What happened to Doogie?
I want to know Amy's side of the story.
Yeah, wherever. Yeah, exactly, yes.
One of the things that gave a better understanding of my household that didn't make the story was how my mother worked all the time. We would be in the house doing everything under the sun that she don't know about. And we knew she get home at a certain time. So everybody consistently knew, no matter what we doing, an hour before it's time for her to get home, it's cleanup time.
Oh, y'all smart. Gotta tell that story.
So we used to shuffle and get to cleaning. A couple of times that wasn't the case. A couple of times we heard the keys and was like, oh,
Yo,
okay.
I want to say one thing that's remind me of, and we can move on, because we can go, I remember this. Me and Elle used to wait, and we look out and see her walking up the block. And then we had a theme song. Or beat, we be like, dun, 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 and we'll be doing that, like, dun, 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 and running in our room. Yo, we used to stuff everything in the closet and all that kind of stuff and make it all neat.
My kids do
The
that.
day she busted us and tore the room up, dragged everything, she threw our dresser over, and then made us, she lost it, and made us clean up from scratch. We never did that again.
She was tired of y'all.
She was tired of us.
I used to do that to my daughters all the time.
Yeah. For real?
I say clean up. I come to check, open the closet, under the bed. Who y'all think y'all dealing with?
Like, I did this already.
You know what I mean? Who y'all think y'all dealing with? They used to be tight. They come home and everything
is out.
On the floor. They sick.
Oh, man. Good fun thinking about all those old things. Yeah.
I wonder how many people have similar stories.
Yeah, I would love to hear some of y'all favorite childhood stories. Drop a comment. I want to hear some of y'all favorite childhood stories. Cancel culture.
Okay.
I wish we thought about the family angle in advance. The cancel culture and how family units are also canceling each other every day. It's a topic I would love to dig deeper into.
Okay.
It's a personal conversation that we had actually one day before we start shooting. You said, if this person wasn't your family, would you deal with them? As a way to say some relationships worth saving after certain violations. So I would love for us to dig deep into that, go into that, and just,
That's a great conversation. We have this this is your family, no matter what.
Yeah.
Right?
But no matter what, it's problematic.
And no, it's the identifying what that looks like.
Okay,
right?
I appreciate that.
Because, yes, they're our family regardless. Mm-hmm. And we had a conversation prior about how we show up for family members that we don't necessarily deal with like that, right? You're my family regardless. Therefore, I'm going to respect. I'm not going to let you get harmed. I am going to do the things that show that I understand this relation.
Right, there is some.
But we ain't friends.
Right. So there is some unconditional love here. Bottom line, period. I'm always be there.
There's some unconditional principles that stand firm. But you being my family doesn't mean that I need to stick around for abuse.
Because I didn't choose you, right? Stick around for abuse. Yeah, yes. I love that. So let's really define that.
Yeah.
Let's really define that, because those things have definitely caused issues with me personally. And but it also ruined just the way I dealt with people outside. So I really want to talk about that. That is dope.
That's a good conversation.
Yeah, that's really good.
We're gonna put that in the vault.
Yeah.
Well, before we leave the cancel culture conversation, I just really, I really want to say, and I told you this off camera, but I had to say it on camera because I just thought that you had your Jadakiss moment. What? Your Jadakiss at the Versus moment on the cancel culture.
What? That's big.
You really shined. I could tell you was passionate about the conversation. And you had a lot of key points that you just like was bang, bang, bang. And I really, really enjoyed watching that. You was just shining.
Yeah, thank you.
And when you know that your people shining and you just like sit back and
look at
boy. It was one of those.
I appreciate it.
I really enjoyed that episode. I was like, all right, I see her. Yeah. The gender war episode, I was paying attention to the comment section a lot. And one thing that I really, really caught on to was the response to my stance, right? And I said the response to my stance was interesting. I think people have to ask themselves if their belief systems are self-serving and are they focused on health? Because relationships have more than one person, right? And when you go into it trying to just make sure that you're comfortable, you're failing.
Right, that's right.
You're failing.
And you're not a partner.
You're looking for a servant. You're not looking for a relationship.
That's right.
My conversation was this blueprint doesn't work for everyone.
Right.
So if the blueprint doesn't work for you, don't kill the relationship trying to fit yourself into this blueprint.
And this is not your story. This is not your
story.
Right, and it's okay. Okay, I appreciate that.
Right, and so you have the expectations that are killing the unit.
Right.
And if we really saying we care and love each other, this has to be a self-serving mindset. You're not thinking of us. You're thinking of you.
You're thinking of yourself. I really appreciate it. And the reason why I didn't have a lot written about gender wars is because my perspective and how I felt and how I've been groomed to feel, I dealt with it in the episode.
I noticed
in real time.
And I loved it.
Yeah, in real time. So it wasn't much more to go back to reflect on because I did a lot of reflection there. And then also what you're saying, when you say, oh, sometimes it's self-serving, is people following one type of blueprint, but also it's really important for everyone to own their stance, like where they currently are, so that they can be clear and communicate that, articulate that to their partner so they can get on the same page.
Even before you become partners, right? In the dating stage.
Right.
I'm so transparent.
Right.
If you signed on, you know exactly what you signed on for.
That's right. And when I lived with my mother, I did not front with joints like I wasn't living in my mother's crib as a grown person. First of all, my reason was a good reason. What I just went through did something very noble. I got to start over. I'd rather do that than my ex because I know I'm going to bounce back. So I never been ashamed of anywhere where I stood at the time. But you get respect like that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Or certain people be like, I can't deal with you. I don't give a goddamn because this is where I'm at.
I respect choice.
Yeah, exactly.
I respect choice. When I say that, I mean that wholeheartedly.
Because if you respect yourself and honor yourself and understand the different stages that you're in, like I always say, the ups and downs, the O's, the pounds. You know what I mean? Because in life, we always have those. You know what I mean? So you need a partner that can rock with you with that. If not, rock with yourself with that, but never feel bad about where you are, especially if you're trying your best, you're doing what you have to do, and just give yourself time to do those things, but never let anybody make you feel bad about your current stance.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We all have different
be okay with
stages.
yourself.
You have to be, at the end of the day, you have to be okay with yourself. And that's the only way to have healthy relationships.
That's the only way
because then you
anybody
can communicate that. And
be okay with you.
That's the only way somebody's going to be okay with you, because you have to be okay with you.
Absolutely.
Period.
Feelings versus facts, I noticed that a lot of comments were speaking of intuition. And I want to be very clear that I understand that intuition is a real thing, but it still goes back to the feelings versus facts conversation, right? Intuition is something that you come by being self-actualized, right? When you're grounded, when you are in full understanding of self, when you went through all of the trials and tribulations and work to get through what trauma turned you into versus who you are naturally, right? So the point of the episode was to deal with the facts of a matter, because the facts of a matter is what brings us closer. Both people can understand the facts. Both people cannot understand your intuition.
So September's Virgo, which is a good friend of mine. Shout out Bosh, I love you, boo boo.
What up, Bosh?
Right. Feelings are valid and rooted, but they are not facts. Even when engaged with family, it can be harder to delineate feelings from fact or fiction. I said, and that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have a lot to add to that, because feelings are valid. Yes, they come from something, but they are not facts.
They're not the foundation of anything.
Right. So it's important that if we're able to figure out the facts of a situation, do that. But one thing she said, but even when engaging with family, it can be even harder to delineate feelings from fact or fiction, to figure out what is the fact. What was the fiction? Because sometimes there's rumors throughout life, or so many people have told you things that you were made to believe from a child about this person, and it's so layered.
And that's why the facts are necessary.
Right.
Like, hearsay is not a fact.
Right.
Right? Like, we only can deal with what we know.
That's right.
And if we don't have enough information, it's something that we can't really address.
Yeah.
You know, because it's easy to have an opinion about pretty much anything. But if you don't have the facts of something, you shouldn't have an opinion about it.
Even though it's hard. But
it's hard. I mean, we all do it, right? But it's all about intention. Being intentional. It's like, yo, you could find yourself coming to a conclusion and then be like, yo, I'm bugging. I don't even know. You know what I mean? That's important.
I would love to have possibly like a psychologist or something like that, or a therapist on the show. I'm just thinking about that comment about delineating facts versus fiction with family, and how deep it goes, and the layers, where it's like, how do you get through that?
I want to bring the love snobs up here.
Let's do it. Let's bring the love snobs up here.
You can see the genius of the relationship
Let's do
expert.
it. Love snobs, see you season 3.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
My interview, I was caught off guard with how deep it ended up getting. But I don't know why I was caught off guard. I don't know why I didn't expect it. Like, anytime you asking questions about my youth, that was my youth.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. I cried every time I watched it.
I enjoy a good cry.
Yeah, it's necessary.
Yeah, I enjoy a good cry. Sometimes it just comes out of nowhere.
I don't know if I enjoy it, but it's necessary sometimes.
Well, I'm saying I enjoy it because I don't cry often. So sometimes when it just comes, when I just feel like crying for no reason, it's like something just hits and it's like, now I want to cry. All right, fuck it, just let me cry. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, like, I got that out. You know what I'm saying? It's important. Yeah, it's important to let that out. Yeah.
If y'all don't see improvement, I don't know what to say. I think this was a great season.
Me too, and I think season 3 is going to be even better. One thing I have to be mindful of, what I said to you, is that even though I'm talking to you, my peoples, I have to realize that I'm also talking to a full audience of supporters, and just being intentional about everything that that's said. And you can forget that when you're talking to someone that you're so comfortable talking to.
So, anything you want to leave this episode with?
I just want to say that I'm actually looking forward to the next season, and I can't believe that we're actually going on to season 3. So far, we've done 16 episodes of this, getting some great feedback, and it's also increasing our followers, where it's no longer just our circle of family and friends, but people just hitting us up like, yo, I'm following, yo, I love this. So that gives us energy. I want to encourage everyone, when you're watching the episodes on YouTube, please sign in so that you can leave a comment. And then
Yes,
also you could like,
please.
because that helps with
helps
everything
us.
else we're doing outside of this and trying to grow this on this platform. So please sign in. Just take 10 minutes to figure out the sign-in process if you're a little old. And yeah, I'm just kidding. No, not. And to like and comment. We appreciate that.
She ain't just call y'all old.
I did. I'm getting up there to our middle age, man. Old can say
I
old.
ain't owning that.
I don't feel old, but we get older. What is you then, man? What is you, man? I mean, what
Young,
are you?
So young.
I'm not just talking to my friend. What are you? I really feel like we got into our flavor of us. So I love that. And us getting back with our friendship, we got, it just happened. Like our sense of humor is back and all that. We're not all serious talking and all that. Like this, the comfort, and I just loved it so much. And I love that. But even in season 1, though, we had those moments, but they weren't captured.
Yeah. That was
So
off camera.
they were off camera. So the fact that it was captured, it was just good reminders to keep seeing it. And I just loved it. I'm like, yo, we mad stupid. Like we really could go all day with this. Like
We really
could go all day with this
They
and
don't
think
have a
we are
clue.
so funny. It's like, do anybody else think? Because we think this is hilarious. So I miss that and I appreciate it.
And me too, man.
Yeah.
Me too. One thing I don't want to forget is the shout outs.
Absolutely.
So I got a shout out for Eric Chose Me.
Yes,
1231.
Yes, Dana.
Definitely need to shout you out. You have been so active on all platforms.
Consistently.
Super consistent.
Word on all of them.
Yes, on every platform.
YouTube, Instagram, yeah.
I could not leave this episode without giving you a shout out because when I say appreciated, you are appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Love you, Booski.
On TikTok, trillionaire_T.Watson. She said these landed deep and caused a bit of necessary reflection, good convo and topics. And that is exactly what we look for.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
When we're doing these. So I really wanted to show appreciation for that comment as well.
Yep.
And then I have one more. On YouTube, Danny Lewinsky. She said, absolutely love this episode. This was the relationship episode as well. It really hit home, especially the part about overcoming toxic relationships. It's never easy to walk away, but recognizing your worth and setting bounds, it gives you freedom.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give a shout out to that comment as well.
Yeah. Those are the things that keep us going because we're doing it for our people. So I love that. And all the other folks that are watching, but we just don't know because sometimes I get inboxes like, "Oh, love the show," but like I said, I realized that some folks are not signing into YouTube. That's why they can't do everything else. So I appreciate everyone else,
all of you,
who's giving us that support. We would like you to be more visual though. It really helps.
You all are appreciated.
Yeah, we got a vision for this thing. We want to keep going.
I look forward to y'all growing with us. I'm Mahogony.
I'm Ish.
And this is Culture Currency.
Where culture
is the value.
Make sure to like, subscribe,
comment, and share.
Peace.